Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. And today it's an interesting day. It's an interesting day today because my man's Wes Huff just made it to the big leagues. You know, so I'm gonna be reviewing the video that the debate between him and Billy Carlson that got him to that platform because it's pretty huge. It's really huge to show up on Joe Rogan, especially for a show like the Joe Rogan podcast, where like it's like 3 hours. I don't know if there's ever been anyone who's I don't want to call it a dub for the Christian community, but yeah, because that would put him as like the Messiah of, you know what I mean. So that's not it's not that, but like I think it's a huge dub. You know, having such a person on a platform uh like this. So yeah, so I want us to watch the video that got the debate between um Wes and Billy Carson. By the way, I think this is the same one that like Billy ended up uh suing Wes Alpha. Like this thing went viral, by the way. It really went. Excuse me. This thing really went viral. And let me try to get into it and see what what was really happening. By the way, I stopped listening to Billy Carson because of some of the things that like he says in his videos, which I would say are anti Christ. You know, he's one of those extreme atheists, right? So to have this conversation between him and Wes half is it's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. So it's only now, and I can see that it's at 1.3 million in 3 weeks. Um, so yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this.
Um, and Wesley, my man, I think it would be great to. I know you guys were both recently in Egypt. There's tons that I'm interested in. That how all these things show up in Egypt is baffling to me. But just going right to it, I had here, Billy. You talk about how Jesus was never crucified.
By the way, shout out to Wes. Shout out to Wes. I'm not using my main account, but I did subscribe to his channel. No, I'm on the other. I didn't subscribe with this channel. Let me. Yeah. So I didn't subscribe with this channel. So you got like 2 subs for me. But shout out to him because I remember his channel was less than 20,000 not so long ago. You know, like if not 2 or 3 months ago, it was less than 20K subscribers. And so to have shout out to 230,000 like this is pretty huge, bro. So I'm assuming it's because of this video, you know, but at the same time the guy's been blowing up, so you know, so yeah, let's watch this.
Crucified, which is interesting because my wife, who's a Muslim, they believe that as well. Their beliefs, from what I understand from her, are they don't think that Jesus, as they believe is a prophet, God would have him killed. But I don't think they have any.
By the way, if this is your first time watching Billy, like I said, Billy Carson, he's like the extreme side of atheist, right? And Wes is sort of like a Bible geek. You understand soon. You understand soon. That's why.
Historical evidence, as far as I know, as to what or how or why they believe that. I'm curious for you guys.
Because the internet been blowing up, you know, it was going off on this, but it's actually now reaching me because I didn't know it was out. You know, the whole thing. I didn't. So yeah, I'm kind of rambling a lot.
Guys, both, and if you want to, I guess, go first, Billy, as to how you came about, like the findings where it seems that Jesus was not crucified, or that's not accurate.
Sure. And in my videos, and if you listen to the podcast, the statement is according to the Sinai Bible. Okay, according to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible predates the King James version of the Bible, and the text there actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James version of the Bible, which came much later.
Talking about Sinai Bible. I'm assuming he's talking about the Matthew 27, where Jesus was crucified. He's saying it's not in the Sinai Bible. I don't know how far true this is, but I'm sure. Let's just,
and then also one of the things that were interesting is that they discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, which according to some scholars, it's a little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have.
Are you watching Wes's face right now? He's unmoved by all these allegations. He's just like, okay. He's not moved at all.
Even been married, which then adds more. If that's true, it adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified. I just
and listen, when you hear someone talk about Jesus not crucified like this, it's leading to one thing. It's leading to the fact that Jesus did not die. That if someone is questioning the resurrection like this, if they're questioning the death, it means they're also questioning the resurrection. So once you fall for this particular trap, you're done, because the basis of our faith is on the power that our King actually lives. He's alive as we speak. He resurrected. He's alive right now. That's what we put our faith in, right? So the moment you start hearing someone question the death, it's only going one way, bro. It's only going one way. And where is that? The resurrection.
Personally believe that Jesus was amazing.
And I don't know exactly what he's trying to talk about when he's saying Jesus and the wife. I'm assuming he's talking about Mary, not the mother, Magdalene, right? I don't know where people get all these information, but yeah, this is one of the, I think, one of the most interesting characters put in one room to debate. I feel like, come on, Wes.
A human being. I don't think that he was the Son of God in the sense that he's God, but that we're all gods, as he said, ye are gods, and that we're to do greater things than him. And I just personally believe that the return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness. When we can all achieve a certain level of knowledge, wisdom, passion,
Nope. The return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness. What does that even mean? Some things sound really nice. Some things sound really thoughtful, but what does that even mean? The return of the Christ consciousness. How are you conscious of someone who you are debating whether they're alive or not? Right? Like you, because once you go this path, you will end up debating his actual existence, because you're already questioning whether Jesus was the Son of God. If you're questioning that, that means you're questioning whether Jesus was the Messiah, right? So what do you now mean the return of the Christ consciousness? Conscious of what? You just denied all of that, right? So
understanding, empathy, love that he came to this planet with, and we get that in our mind and our conscience, and we can act on those incredible emotions and that understanding, that the whole world's going to transform instantaneously. And I think at the second coming is the coming of the Christ consciousness to the planet, not a human being flying back to Earth to save people. That's just my personal understanding of how I perceived it over many, many years of going through this information and going through all this text.
man, you contradicted yourself on so many levels. Oh man, let's hear Wes's side.
And Wes, I'm gonna let you respond to that. And again, I mean, this is everyone listening to the show. I'm always like, challenge everything. learn to critically think and continue to come to your conclusions. Even with Jesus, I'm not personally even waiting on that he has to come back to say, I already know I'm, like I said, that strength of God and consciousness is already, I can tap into that right now. So you don't have to.
You do realize it sounds deep. Oh, I can tap into it, right? It sounds deep, but what exactly are you saying? What are you saying? Like,
Wait for him to come
what are you
back.
guys talking about?
For those that believe he does, to actually have that like next level of what that's supposed to mean. But Wes, go ahead on for what Billy was talking about. I think with a book in the Harvard Museum, and I heard something about Jesus's wife, which that's
Ding, 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 ding. By the way, look. This is what we're gonna be experiencing for 3 hours on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like there hasn't been a Wes before. Someone who's this deep, so y'all need to check him out. Y'all need to go on his YouTube channel and just check out the videos, bro. Check out the videos. The guy is deep. I mean, on so many levels and layers are just like deepness. For me, I remember watching one of his videos and I was just like, I think I need to read my Bible more, and whatever surround. I actually need to read the canons type of thing. This is the guy, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, first let me say I think it's really cool to not just be in the room proverbially with you, Billy, but be able to interact with you. Because I wish I could be there in person. Unfortunately, Toronto, Canada is a long way away from Florida. It's a little bit of a jaunt. But I really appreciate the fact that you seem to have investigated to a certain degree some of these facts. Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically?
It's the biblical text that was written. It made it into you can actually look it up on Amazon. It's a Bible called, I have a version at home.
Bro, he's setting you up. He knows. Oh man. Come on, Billy. You should have researched this guy.
It's called the Sinai Bible, right, from Mount Sinai. I'm assuming it's the mountain that they're referencing there. But they put together their own version of the biblical text prior to the King James Version being put out.
Sure. So when you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus? Like the codex that comes? Okay. That's why I was trying to get some clarification. Because, so you can actually go and see, Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library. So you can go and see it. It's on display. And the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So I work with manuscripts in my linguistic work. I'm an expert on early Christian scribal culture, and particularly in Greek.
He's a Bible historian, by the way. So that's his thing. That's his thing. I'm just pumped just watching this, like, bro.
In Coptic manuscripts. I actually have. I have a facsimile, so I have a photocopy that was done by the British Library of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here, and the only reason I asked for clarification.
Yo, the Bible that you claiming, that you flexing on, like, okay, he actually has it. Like, you know how people sound deep for no reason? I told you, these guys be sounding deep for no reason. He's telling you, I have the same thing that you're referring to. So let me show you. Let me pull it out. Let's read what you're talking about. Come on, Wes.
Clarification is because I want to make sure that what I'm addressing is actually what you mean,
Gotcha.
And not addressing something else. Because the Codex Sinaiticus in particular is just it's a 4th century Greek manuscript. Mm-hmm. It comes from approximately between 325 and 350 AD. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from.
That's the case, then that means the chapters that are in the Bible are also in this book, right?
So my curiosity is just simply in kind of exploring when you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion isn't there. I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up the end of, say, Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified. And that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or, the John 19, or any of the other ones. So I think my confusion is that it doesn't read any differently. So actually, are you able to pull up a website with the viewers or listeners or whatever be able to see that?
Right now to make sure I have the version that I'm looking at.
Yo, the internet, people just be pulling up whatever hear someone with an actual copy of what you guys. Bro. You should have looked up this guy before you stepped in the room with him, bro.
While he's pulling that up too, like I keep saying to all the people that aren't,
because people be throwing out just information. They just be throwing information. They don't even cross-check it for themselves. Oh man, I see where this is going and how Billy might have ended up, why he might have ended up suing Wes for this. And shout out to the Nelson Mandela picture, in the background. I don't know if you guys can see it.
scientists traveling the world and linguists, I don't even know how to pronounce it the right way, like me.
Yeah, linguists.
Cyanide, I keep thinking of cyanide, like the cyanide Bible. So
right.
Is that like a version? So from my own knowledge that I know, like when I really studied all this, what I thought was interesting about the Bible was how many like different eyewitnesses. I studied C.S. Lewis back in the day, how many different eyewitnesses and stuff there were. And they went on purpose to mention so many other names that they were able to like cross-reference throughout history and throughout those times, from my understanding. And those were different things that I always thought were kind of interesting that I felt was a good concept of proof. And then I want Billy to answer. And also, I'm just curious, like the Sinai Bible, was that where was that piece
I found
discovered?
the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh man. So how many misquotes have you been hitting people and going viral? How many of those? How many of those? But hey, I have faith in the guy. I have faith in Wes. He's gonna find a way to. But it's all right. It's all right. Let's keep going.
Okay, yeah. Well, so that's good. So let's deal with that too, because I've actually worked with. There are two manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas. The Gospel of Barnabas is a really interesting document.
Wait. So he just said I misquoted the thing. So I wasn't. Look at his eyes, though. I think he didn't come prepared. If you ask me, Billy Carson didn't come. He didn't show up prepared. Not for this one. He was not prepared for this one. Look at his eyes, bro. I'm assuming he's looking at the laptop, but even how the eyes are just dropped, like, oh man, Wes is cooking right now. Wes is cooking
because it is a known forgery, and so that's why I think it's important to get to these sources. So at the very start of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have,
that's bad because he referred to one, and the one that I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you watch. But like the one that he referred to, and he ended up saying, "No, I made a mistake. Then I meant the gospel, the Barnabas one, and even that one, bro. Even that one, not now. Wes is saying that's a forgery.
we have two copies of. One is in Italian and one is in Spanish. We see right off the bat that the Gospel of Barnabas, not to be confused with either the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are two apocryphal documents from the 2nd century, but the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery because it does things like in chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai and then he came to the Jordan River and he walked to Jerusalem. But Mount Sinai is more than a week's journey away from Jerusalem, and neither Mount Sinai nor Jerusalem are close to the Jordan River. So never mind there not being a route from the Jordan River to like around Mount Sinai or going to Jerusalem. But there are internal problems with the Gospel of Barnabas, which indicate that it shows no actual indication of evidence of coming from or even having knowledge of first century Jewish understanding. It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah, which indicates that whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. And I think a bigger problem is that the Gospel of Barnabas actually paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. So there's a lot of internal evidences that disqualify the Gospel of Barnabas, never mind the fact that we don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century, and none in any other language other than Middle Age Italian Italian and Spanish. But
I'm sorry. This guy just makes me. Right now, I feel like I need to go to the altar call and give my life again to Jesus, man. Like, what's all this? I don't know if you guys knew all this, but like, sheesh, bro. Sheesh. Because look, as much as we want to talk about it, how are you going to defend the Bible if you don't know things like these, man? Like, how you going to defend the Bible to this extent if you're not? Bro, I feel like I need to go back to Sunday school or something. Sheesh. Okay.
The internal content.
I'm playing games, bro. I thought I know my Bible. At this point, I just feel like
the Gospel of Barnabas disqualifies it from being ancient. And then the fact that it's doing things like paraphrasing Dante, or it also refers to a rule of the time of Jubilee, which was changed in the Middle Ages from what it was in the biblical year of Jubilee. And it goes with the Middle Ages concept, not the ancient concept. So I think what I'm getting at is, so I'm a historian and I deal with sources. So when I'm looking at sources, I want to make sure that I have a methodology by which I approach any type of source. So if there is something that denies the crucifixion, I want to make sure that I'm analyzing it and that the methodology by which I analyze it actually reveals that the content can be accurately tied to the event. So if we're talking,
we're gonna get 3 hours of this at the Joe Rogan podcast. I can't wait. If you guys want me to react to that as soon as it drops, let me know. Let me know. But
talking about, say, Codex Sinaiticus, that's in the 4th century. Now that is, I would agree with you, Billy, our oldest copy of the Bible in the sense of cover to cover, Genesis to Revelation copy of the Bible.
Right.
The problem is that we have individual copies of all 4 Gospels going back hundreds of years before Codex Sinaiticus. So I have a facsimile behind me of P66. This is a late 2nd century copy of the Gospel of John. I work with this particular manuscript. I can just show the screen right here. This is an almost complete.
He's so kind in how he's flexing, bro. He's very kind. He's very, like, I don't know how he's nice and ruthless at the same time, but
Copy of the Gospel of John. And it
Is that the
has the
papyrus by
crucifixion.
any chance?
Yeah,
That's
so
very
papyrus
nice.
is just the what it's made out of. So
I got that from
Yeah.
ChatGPT, by the way.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
guys, I'm just
I can
trying to sound
actually-
smart for a second.
I have that papyrus at home.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
yeah, so I'll show you this. So the documents you actually see on my bookshelf behind me are facsimile papyri that I've made. So when I was in Egypt last summer, I went and I made for me some papyrus sheets. And so I take these papyrus sheets, which are made from the papyrus.
Jesus, man. What am I doing with my Christianity, bro? Like, what am I doing with my Christianity? What? This guy's serious.
And then when I go and I look at actual manuscripts, so I was at the University of Philadelphia last summer, and I went and I saw a document called P1, which is a 3rd century fragment of the beginning of the Gospel of Matthew. And so what I did is I sat down with that original and I produced a facsimile. So I copied the text. First of all, I cut it out with an X-Acto knife in not the original 3rd century one on my papyrus. I cut out with an X-Acto knife this guy, and then I copied the text transcriptionally on the front and the back. So papyrus is just simply, it's what it's made out of.
Yeah.
And so there's categorizing systems, and the standard one is called the Gregory Allant categorizing system. And so sometimes you'll see when manuscripts are mentioned, they'll have a GA and then a number behind it. If it's made of papyrus, you simply abbreviate the word papyrus to P, and then you have the numbering system. So P66, what I showed you earlier, that's this on the categorizing system. It's the 66th manuscript that was put into the system. It's from the Gospel of John. I also have, P46 and P47 on my shelf, which includes all 4 Gospels and Acts from the 2nd and 3rd centuries. So the only hesitation I have with what you said, Billy, is that we have single copies of the Gospels that can be dated to the 2nd century that all do have the crucifixion. And so if we're relying on something like the Gospel of Barnabas, which is not just like, it's not that there's debate about it, it's a known forgery. I mean, no one's referring to the Gospel of Barnabas as anything other than.
If you say it's a known forgery, yes, but I'm going to go with that. Let's talk about the Old Testament a little.
What are you talking about, bro? He's jumping all over the place. This is not the Billy Carson that I know. Like, also talk about the fact that he went on the Joe Rogan podcast. So I'm Billy Carson. So I'm pretty excited to have someone like Wes Huff go on the podcast. Also, someone as this vocal and I don't know, well read. At this point, I don't think this is just reading, bro. Because I don't even know how to feel right now. I feel like I'm a sinner right now, bro. Like I feel like I'm playing jokes with my faith, bro. Like this guy, yo.
A little bit leading up into the new.
Well, hold on, because do you mind if I address the Gospel of Jesus' wife?
Sure, go ahead.
Well,
Thank you, because he shouldn't have let that one slip. So thank you for coming back to that one. again, I don't know. Like I think it's Mary for some weird misconception, exceptional reasons. But I think that's the one they're talking about. But of course, we have to hear from the from the Bible historian geek, the man.
What was her name?
Yeah,
I'm like trying to write notes like I know what I'm doing, but I'm just curious.
So the gospel of Jesus' wife doesn't actually mention. So oftentimes what happens is that the text of the gospel of Jesus' wife is kind of paralleled with the gospel of Philip, which mentions that that Jesus would kiss Mary Magdalene on the mouth. And so those are kind of used in parallel to kind of for this argument that Jesus was married. So the gospel of Jesus' wife is in the Harvard Library. However, the reason we know it's also not legitimate is because even though the manuscript, the papyrus that it's on, was carbon dated to the 4th century,